Hi everyone, it's $5 quilt. It's amazing and upsetting and crazy to think this is the way we have to do this month, that our social distancing is keeping us all apart. We miss all of you. Just as a reminder, we are doing online sales and we're doing curbside sales. So you're welcome to call in an order or go online and place an order and come on up and give us a call and we'll run it out to you with all the proper protection that we are currently using. So this month I created this block. I've fallen in love with how fun it is. And so this is the red and green version. And then we have the pastel version, which is super fun. And then we have the red, white, and blue version. The new technique that I'm gonna set these aside. The new technique we're doing is flying geese. And we're gonna use the no waste method for flying geese. But first, let's go through the cutting, which is what I normally do. So color 1 is going to be for the red and green, the red. For the pastel, it will be the green, and teal. I call it teal, kind of green, and then the patriotic, it's the red star. Now, I'll be honest with you, I kind of miscalculated, and this is, you've got enough fabric. It's going to be a little tight though, so be careful when you pre-shrink and you straighten it up that you don't cut too much off. So what we're going to do first is cut a 5 1/4 inch piece off of it. And you're going to then take your square ruler and cut a 5 1/4 inch square. Then you're going to cut two 2 7/8 inch strips, and you will cut each of those strips into two 2 7/8 inch, that's tough to say, squares, okay? So you'll have 4 2 7/8 inch squares and a 5 1/4 inch square, okay? So cut the 5 1/4 first, just because it's a little snug. Our second color is going to be green for the red and green, blue for the pastel, and blue for the red, white, and blue. Okay? On this one, you're going to cut a 4 1/2 inch square, and then you're going to cut 4 3 inch squares. And this one is very generous. Again, I got actually 1 and 2 mixed up, and so this is how we're doing it. So you shouldn't have any problems with that one. Color number 3 is the easiest one. You need 4 2 1/2 inch squares. So you've got the candy cane for the red and green, you have yellow in the pastel, and you have a red solid for the red, white, and blue. And then your big piece of background fabric, it measures 13 1/2 by 13 1/2 or thereabouts. The first thing you're going to do is cut a 5 1/4 inch strip off of here. Out of that strip, the top part, you'll cut a 5 1/4 inch square. The bottom part, you'll cut 4 2 1/2 inch squares. Okay? Then you are going to cut a 2 7/8 inch strip, and you will cut that into 4 2 7/8 inch squares. And then you will cut a 3 inch strip, and you will cut that into 4 3 inch squares. So ultimately, you've got a lot of pieces. I recommend that you label your squares so you know what size they are, so you grab the right ones for the right technique. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to learn about the no waste method of flying geese. So you're going to take a 5 1/4 inch square of the, and this time I'm using the red, and you're going to take your two 2 7/8 inch squares, and you're going to line them up on the diagonal so that the top one tucks on the top and the bottom one tucks on the bottom. You're going to draw a line from point to point, and just like your half square triangles, you're going to sew a 1/4 inch on each side of that line. Then you're going to cut it apart. And what's interesting, when you cut it apart, you will end up like this. Okay? See, oops, you can see. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take that and you're going to flip the little triangles up and you're going to press them. Okay? So you get kind of what looks like a heart shape, and you'll have 2 of these. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take a 2 7/8 inch square, And you're going to tuck it into this bottom corner so that the point goes right up between the two pieces of the heart, like this. And remember, you have 2 of these, so you'll do it twice. And you're going to sew 1/4 inch on each side of that line. Okay, so you can see that. Now, I know this seems weird, but we're going to cut it on that line, which I'm going to do really quickly here. All right, and so they look like this when you cut them apart. And what's magic is when you flip this up, there is your flying geese block. Now, what we were going to feature this month is this really cool little Nifty Notions mini iron. I had not tried it until today, and now this one's going home with me. What's really cool about it is it gets really hot, but it's small, and it keeps you from the, with a giant iron of thinking you have to iron off the edges all over the place. You can just run it right up to the seam, and I got so much less distortion with this little iron. So I'm just going to press that up. And now that should measure 2.5 by 4.5, and you can take your ruler and trim it up and clean it up. But you're going to have 4 of these that have the red as the base, the white as the sky, and then you're going to have 4 of them that you will do it with the white as the base and the red as the sky. So that's your first step. You need 4 of each. After you've made these, you're then going to put these right sides together, and you're going to sew those together so that you get this little chevron shape. Okay? This chevron shape will measure 4.5 inches. And try when you sew across this X here, you can see the X, to keep that needle one right above the X or right through it, because that way you'll maintain your point. Okay, so this would be, you're going to make 4 of these that'll measure 4.5 inches. Okay, so we're going to put those aside. Okay, now we're going to make 4 half square triangles. Actually, you're going to make 8 of them. So you have 4 green 3.5 inch squares and 4 background 3.5 inch squares. And just like we did last month, you'll put those squares right sides together, draw a line on the diagonal, sew 1/4 inch on each side of the line, cut it apart, and then remember you have to trim them. We added an extra 1/8 inch, so trim them down so that these will measure 2.5 inches. Okay? Then you're going to take 2 of these, you're going to take a 2.5 inch background square and your accent square, and these are going to go together. And you'll see in the pattern where we're going to put these together, and this is going to, and you want to do each corner individually, lay it out like the picture to make sure you get your chevrons going in, or your half square triangles going in the right direction. And I'm going to try to do this upside down. So I want that one to go, I can't do it upside down. That one to go that way, this one to go this way, and then this one goes in the corner. So you've got these across from each other, your accent fabric, and that, when you sew that together, it'll also measure 4.5 inches, and you'll have 4 of those. Then you cut a 4.5 inch square out of the green, or the color 2, and that's going to go in the middle. And then all you have to do is put your block together just like the picture shows in the individual pieces. Okay, so it's pretty simple. I hate that we're learning a new technique and I'm not here, or we're not together, so you can ask questions, but you can always shoot us an email and ask any questions that you have. We're here Monday through Friday in San Antonio from 10 to 2. So the phones start ringing at 10, and around 2, 3 o'clock they stop, and then we tend to be going home. So I hope next month we can be back together. And I wish all of you to stay healthy and stay home as hard as it is. Keep your social distance and go online, check out our website. Michelle and Charlie have done amazing things to bring that up as fast as they did. There's lots of cool stuff out there. And if you would like one of the little irons, we're offering 10% off, and you can do it curbside pickup. So just call and let us know you want one, and we'll put your name on it, and when you're in the area, or you can come and pull up and call us, and we'll run one out to you. And I promise you will love it as much as I do. Thanks. We'll see you next month.